Hello, welcome back to BLENDERSUSHI Live Noding. In this episode, I'm gonna revisit the particle tracing. I'm gonna be using animation nodes and Sverchok for the particle tracing. Mostly, we're gonna focus on the animation nodes because I got this question the other day from one of Blender artists at my YouTube channel, and he asked me how to create this particle tracing using animation nodes. So basically, with animation nodes, you need a couple of like a setup, like for the process. The idea is, of course, to just generate like you have like a master particles, and the master particles is the kind of like the particles that you're gonna be tracing. So currently, I have master emitter, and then this master emitter is emitting 3 particles. You see this the number 3 particles being emitted, and then what's happening here with animation nodes is it grabs the master emitter objects and get the particles position, and then it's kind of tracking the particles position. Okay, and then the second thing that's what's happening is you have another emitter, like a particle emitters, that's gonna be the tracer objects, and we kind of instance it on every particles of the master emitter. So currently, we have three particles being emitted from the master emitter and being tracked, and then we instance another particle emitter for each of the master particles, and like so. So that's one kind of process happenings. The second one is the actual tracer itself. So here you can see the objects being instanced, like I probably better draw it. So you have the master particle, okay, master, and you can emit it as many particles as you want, but you kind of parenting instance of particle systems onto the master. So now these guys becoming the tracer object, and with the tracer being parented to the master particles, you can easily output the curve. And the way to do that in animation nodes is it's slightly convoluted, but it's actually similar to the one we did up here. So, but we kind of need to put it inside a loop. So here we have the master particles instancing some tracer objects. Okay, and now we actually grab the tracer objects itself that I already grouped, and based on those tracers we generate curve objects. And for that curve object, we're gonna need to kind of trace the particles position for each tracer objects, basically. So there's another like particle info nodes being used, and then to get all the vector lists for the particles tracer. By the way, the tracer object itself is basically just like a simple particle system that emits a single particles for every frames, kind of like living trace of particles. So when everything works, we're gonna grab the tracer objects, and then for each tracer objects we're gonna track the particle positions, and then and then create a spline based on the points of those tracer particles. And if everything works properly, then if we want to make changes to the master object, let's say we want to have like 25 particles being emitted, all we need to do is just change the number, and then we go to full screen and then Alt A. It's a lot faster when we do it in the full screen like this. Of course, it's like an animation nodes thing, but like I said, it's a nice to be able to see what's going on with animation nodes, like with the whole loop thing and kind of the whole process. It kind of I guess it's easier to understand, but also at the same time can be quite complicated. So I think for the particle tracer itself, I also kind of recommend you to use Sverchok to do that. So we don't need to do the curve thing. Let's see if I delete all this stuff. I have to do it carefully. So where we are up to? So we just need the master particles. That's kind of preparing the master objects. So master particle, we have the master emitter that's emitting the tracer objects, and we just need Sverchok to look at the tracer objects basically. So we don't need all this down below. I'm gonna delete that. Okay, so we lost our curve, and then now it's just a bunch of particles. They're actually a single particle system, and I'll leave it like that. And then we're gonna switch to Sverchok and then create a new nodes tree and then load it from the GIS right here. So this is from LIVENODING210. Let's grab this, hopefully works. Import. You need internet to do that, but it's very convenient to be able to just put the node tree setup in the GIS and then reload it when you need it. Okay, so we have this thing. Apparently we have more than we need. What you really need is just this guy. There are some nodes being depreciated because it's been updated. You just need to reload it. If I'm not wrong, you can just, there must be like an update, reload the node here, update node 3, or let's delete this guy. Okay, so we have this. So the white color thing is from Sverchok, and we have some other particles being traced as well. It's tracing the master particles, and it turned it into a single line like that. That's probably like a maybe just a glitch. I'll restart and save this just in case it crashes. Let it trace for a couple of frames. It's happening, but it's kind of slow. I have a feeling that we have lots of leftover particle system that Sverchok is reading. If I reopen this Blender file, maybe it won't happen. But currently, it's just looking at all the stray particle system that need to be deleted or purged. But you can see that some of them they're they are working properly here. The one that we need. Let's just stop it right there. Okay, with this thing, apparently we don't actually need to do the list slicing on the vertices. For the vertices, we just plug in the original. So we can, if we want, we can just bake it. And we have like a result right there. I should have cleaned this up before I do this, and it's generating like a lot of stray curve at the moment. Maybe let me try trace. Yeah, I should have close this and then save it and close it again, and reopen. That might clean up the stray particles. I'm gonna delete this as all this SV. Select select pattern. And delete. Okay, it's clean now. Save as master emitter. Let's emit just 5, and I'm gonna close this and reopen it. Found that making tools that works all the time is it's not easy. You need a lot of kind of updates and bug fixing, and then whenever you want to do something more, and then maybe you need to change the setup. That's hopefully it works, and then we have a clean result, hopefully. Still happening. Yeah, interesting. Maybe it's in the animation nodes itself. Yeah, you see all those tracer objects, it needs to be deleted somewhat. Let's run this for a few frames, and then I'm gonna use this polyline curve viewer in Sverchok, and then let's look at the result for the one that actually works. When I was doing this before the recording, it's actually quite fast, like 60 frame. It's running at 100 frames per second, or sometimes just 60 frames per second, but it's really fast and interactive. Now because I'm recording, it's kind of super slow. Okay, I think I stopped it. Back to Sverchok, and okay, we have those. So we have the particles there. It's tracing some of the junks. I think we need a way to separate some of these particles. We have 128 particles because of these extra objects, which is weird. But yeah, you can use a polyline viewer in Sverchok. Just plug that in. And that guy. Zero 0.01. Oh, it's currently unhappy about something. Polyline expect argument single. Okay, the matrix. I plug in the wrong thing. I don't need to plug in the matrix. Okay, it works. We have this extra stuff we don't need. The one that actually is supposed to be there is somewhere hiding. That's also wrong. Well, I guess you just need to trust me on that. It's basically I kind of want to separate the process. Like if you really want to, like if you want to trace using animation nodes fully, you can do that. And if you want to animate the master particles using Sverchok, you can do that as well. It's just like sometimes I mix the two, so it's easier to control but in this case something's failed right there, because of this extra stuff from animation nodes. Sometimes animation nodes generate these extra objects, and I don't know, maybe I need to look into that. But basically, yeah, particle tracing is an interesting business, I guess. It's a sometimes it fails, but believe me, if I have a setup that actually working. I'm probably gonna put it, zip it and put it on the Dropbox or Google Drive and share it with you guys. Thanks again for tuning in to Live Noding. I'll see you in the next video.